I overheard my girlfriend absolutely tearing me apart in front of her best friend. And it wasn't just teasing, it was brutal. Her name is Ashley. She's 28, and we've been together a little over 2 years. I'm 33, a veterinarian, and that's actually how we met. She had just moved to the city and brought her dog into my clinic for an ear infection. We started talking, and what was supposed to be a quick 15-minute appointment somehow turned into an hour-long conversation. I had never been that drawn to someone before. Up until then, I'd been living a pretty bachelor-style life. No real commitments, just going with the flow. Honestly, I'd already started to think I might just end up alone. That bachelor lifestyle, all those casual short-term flings, had started to feel empty and honestly kind of exhausting. Ashley was the complete opposite. She's outgoing, charismatic, always surrounded by people, the kind of person who walks into a room and instantly becomes the center of it. Her best friend is a guy named Marcus. They've known each other for years. And yeah, I trust her, but I'd be lying if I said their relationship never bothered me. I don't pick fights about it. I don't get jealous or controlling. She's always reassured me that they've just been friends forever. And she swore nothing had ever happened between them. Nothing romantic, nothing physical. I'm a confident guy, so I chose to accept that. I even made an effort to get to know Marcus better. He's come out to visit us a few times. Honestly, he's a decent guy, but it's pretty clear he doesn't like me. Ashley says he's just being protective, but to me, it feels a lot more like jealousy than protection. She actually just finished grad school this past spring, and it's been really tough for her to find a job. We've been living together for about a year now, and I get that she can't really contribute much financially yet. I'm doing well for myself, so I've been covering the rent and most of the expenses without making it a big deal. So it wasn't really an issue, but I also didn't want to become the reason she got too comfortable not working. I believe everyone needs their own financial independence. I made it clear that once she found a job, we'd start splitting expenses 50-50. Then on Monday, she texted me. She got the job. Not just any job. The one she really wanted. The one she'd been stressing over for weeks, going through multiple rounds of interviews. I was genuinely proud of her. Like, really proud. So I decided to do something special. I left the clinic early, handed things off to my staff without telling Ashley, and went out to put together a little surprise for her. I picked up her favorite bottle of wine, grabbed some takeout from her favorite Chinese spot, and bought her flowers. And then I remembered something. A few weeks earlier, we were at this little boutique, and she saw this necklace she couldn't stop talking about. It wasn't expensive or anything, but it had this small shark pendant. And she's obsessed with sharks, always has been. So, yeah, I went back and got that too. I bought the necklace and hid it down in the basement, planning to give it to her later. You know, as a surprise once she'd completely forgotten about it. When I got home, I went in through the side entrance that leads to the basement so I could grab it before going upstairs. But as I came up the steps and cracked the door open, I heard Ashley on the phone. Normally, I wouldn't eavesdrop. That's not who I am. But she was laughing. Like really laughing to the point where she could barely breathe. It was kinda cute, honestly. I figured I'd just wait a minute and let her finish the call before surprising her. Then I realized who she was talking to. Nothing unusual. They talk at least once a week. But then I realized what they were actually laughing about. It took me a second to process it, and then it hit me. She was making fun of our sex life. She said something like, "He's not even close to my ex. My ex was at least like 3 inches bigger." And then she kept going. "Every time I see a baby carrot, I feel bad for him. Like, that's probably traumatic. Imagine me biting into something that size." They both burst out laughing. I mean, his body is amazing, until the boxers come off. More laughing. Look, I don't care what random people on the internet say about stuff like that. That's not the point. But I do need to say this. What she was laughing about? It's not even true. And honestly, that made it hurt even more, because it wasn't even accurate. I don't know anything about her ex, Maybe the guy was some kind of anomaly, who knows? But me? I'm just average. Nothing crazy, nothing special. Just normal. And that's never been something I've been insecure about. Until that moment. Hearing my own girlfriend talk about me like that, with him, of all people, the one guy I've always had a weird feeling about, that crossed a line. Upset doesn't even come close to describing it. And she didn't stop there. She joked about how I'm good-looking, but not that smart, which is wild, because I'm actually very well educated. But that part, honestly, that didn't even bother me. I know who I am. I know I'm smart. I know I'm attractive. And yeah, I'm a normal guy. Nothing extreme, nothing to be ashamed of. After that, I just left. Did I toss the flowers out the car window? Yeah. Did I sit in a parking lot and cry? Yeah. I'm pretty sure she heard the basement door slam. Or maybe she saw me drive off. Either way, she started texting me almost immediately, asking where I was when I'd be home. That was Monday, and I still haven't brought it up. I don't even know how to. I think I'm still trying to process what I heard. It's humiliating. It's painful. It's honestly hard to even put into words. But the worst part? Damn it. I love her. I know I need to talk to her about it, but how do you even start that kind of conversation? I'm hurt. Really hurt. And I honestly don't know if I can forgive her for this. Update. I've made my decision. I'm going to break up with Ashley. Tonight, I met up with a few close friends, grabbed some beers, and told them everything that happened. Every single one of them said the same thing. End it, and don't drag it out. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I also called my mom and told her everything. Yeah, I told her all of it, as embarrassing as that was. But we're really close, and I needed someone I trust to hear me out. I don't think I've ever heard her that angry before. She knew I had bought a ring for Ashley. I'll post another update once it's done, probably tomorrow. I'm not gonna lie. I know I'm going to be a mess emotionally, but seriously, thank you to everyone who reached out, left comments, or sent support. I didn't expect this many people to be on my side, so I did it. I stayed strong and broke up with Ashley on Thursday night. Honestly, these past few days have been some of the most intense and emotionally draining of my life. I'm completely exhausted. And, on her side, it got ugly. Sorry this is long, but a lot happened. Taking the advice from my friends, my mom, my brother, and a lot of you, I decided to meet her in a public place to have the conversation. The logic was simple. Someone who can be that cruel and fake behind your back might also be capable of twisting the story afterward, saying I was the one who treated her badly, or even making up something crazy like claiming I hurt her. I'd like to believe she wouldn't go that far. But after everything I heard, I'm not taking any chances. At first, I seriously considered just packing up her things and ending it without saying a word. But after 2 years together, I felt like she at least deserved a conversation. I wanted to handle it calmly, give her a chance to explain herself, if she even had an explanation. Not because it would change my decision, but because I needed to hear it. So I took her to a wine bar downtown. One of those places with small, semi-private booths and curtains, quiet enough to talk, but still public. Since Monday, Ashley had been acting like an absolute angel. Extra sweet, extra attentive, like nothing had happened. And honestly, that almost made it worse. That left me with 3 possible explanations. Either she felt guilty about what she'd said, or she thought I might have overheard her, or she just noticed I'd been distant and had no idea why. She got really dressed up that night. And despite everything, I have to admit, she looked incredible. She was also being unusually affectionate, touching me, leaning in, acting like everything was perfect. At one point, she even started making suggestive comments about what she wanted to do later, and yeah, she even brought up that same joke again, that little nickname she thought was funny. Yeah, under normal circumstances, maybe I could have laughed it off, but in that moment, hearing that again was hard. And staying calm took everything I had. I'd gone over this conversation in my head 100 times, rehearsed it, tried to prepare myself. So the second we sat down and the wine was poured, I started talking. I don't remember exactly what I said, word for word. My adrenaline was through the roof. Everything felt kind of blurred. But I remember how I started. I told her how much I loved her, that she was the only woman I'd ever felt that kind of deep connection with, that I had opened up to her in a way I never had with anyone else, and trusted her completely. I told her she was the only woman I'd ever seriously thought about marrying, that she was the one I pictured a future with. I didn't mention that I had already bought the ring, or how real those plans had felt to me, how I'd actually imagined us building a life together, maybe even having kids in the next few years. She kept interrupting me, saying things like, "That's so sweet," or telling me how much she loved me. And then, I looked her straight in the eyes and asked her one simple question. "If you love me that much, why were you making fun of me like that in front of Marcus?" I'm not gonna lie. The look on her face? There was a part of me that felt a little satisfaction seeing it, because in that moment, she knew. She knew exactly what I had heard. At first, she denied everything, acted like she had no idea what I was talking about. She said Marcus knows how much she loves me, that she would never make fun of me like that in front of him. I just looked at her and said something like, "Come on, Ashley." But even after I told her I came home early that Monday, that I heard everything, she kept denying it, calmly, almost too calmly. And honestly, that part was the most frustrating. I finally just told her, "We both know you're lying, and what you said, there's no excuse for it." I still can't wrap my head around why she would even say things like that in the first place, especially not just what she said, but the fact that she was lying, just to get a laugh at my expense. And she kept going, denying everything, acting like I was the one losing it. She told me she loved me so much, that she had never once been unhappy with our sex life, that she would never complain about something like that she knows how smart I am, how caring I am, and that's exactly why she loves me. And honestly, if I hadn't heard it with my own ears, I probably would have believed her. Give her an Oscar. Some people asked if I was sure she was talking about me when I overheard that call. Yeah, I'm sure. When she was comparing me to her ex, she literally said my name. There's no confusion there. She was talking about me. And then she sat there and lied straight to my face. So I told her I'd drive us back home so she could grab the essentials, her stuff and her dog. My brother and his wife were already there. I wanted witnesses. Not because I planned anything, but because I wasn't taking any chances. I needed people there who could confirm I stayed calm, that I didn't do anything aggressive, and that I let her take what she needed. I told her I'd pack the rest of her things myself and leave them outside so she could pick them up later. That's when it finally hit her. Ashley was in complete shock that I was actually ending things. She started begging me to change my mind, but my decision was already made, and I wasn't going back on it. I'm not gonna lie. It was hard not to break when she started saying how much she wanted to spend her life with me, how she saw herself having my kids. She kept asking me what she was supposed to do now, where she was going to sleep. And I told her the truth, that it wasn't my responsibility anymore, that she has plenty of friends she can stay with until she figures things out. Almost everything in the apartment was mine anyway. The furniture, the decor, even the renovations she had done were paid for by me. All she really needed to take were her clothes, toiletries, and personal stuff. And that's when the tears really started. Ashley broke down, crying, saying she didn't understand how I could do this to her. She kept repeating over and over that she thought I was a good guy. And I told her, I am a good guy. That's exactly why I didn't just throw her stuff out on the lawn, change the locks, and disappear without a word. And then, I swear, she somehow managed to twist the knife even deeper. She finally admitted it, said she didn't even know why she told Marcus all that with him, She can laugh about things that would otherwise make her cry. And yeah, apparently that included me. At that point, I was done holding back. I'm not usually the kind of person who makes petty or cutting remarks, but I told her maybe she should just go back to her hometown, stay with Marcus, or maybe go back to her ex and his 9-inch upgrade. It was honestly kind of shocking how fast her tears stopped. Just like that. Guess I'm the bad guy now. Then she went all in. I guess I just don't know how to be with someone like you. I'm a mess. You deserve better. You're too good. And then it flipped. I don't know how to deal with men. I always end up with the wrong ones. I'm broken. Then she looked at me and said I was going to end up alone, that I wasn't enough, that she never really saw me as that guy, more like a safe option, someone who wouldn't hurt her. And that's why she stayed. Not because she truly loved me, but because she didn't want to feel like the bad person for leaving. She even said that if I had proposed, she wouldn't have been able to say yes. And just to make sure it really landed, she doubled down on everything she had said before, repeating that same joke, like twisting the knife one last time, that I'd end up alone, that I'd die alone. And that's when I finally said it. Dying alone sounds a hell of a lot better than spending my life with someone who doesn't love or respect me. And for the first time that night, I meant every word. And then she snapped, not talking, just screaming, a long, loud, almost unhinged scream. It was honestly unsettling. Then she bolted out of the place, calling me a disgusting pig as she went. I paid the bill, apologized to the server for the scene, and stepped outside. She was still there, just standing on the sidewalk, crying. And yeah, after everything she said, after everything she did, it still didn't feel good seeing her like that. I didn't want to just leave her out there. It was cold. So I told her I'd drive her back so she could grab her things. But after that, she needed to go. Stay with a friend, figure something out. Just not with me anymore. She agreed. The entire drive back, we didn't say a single word. It was one of the most awkward, heavy silences I've ever experienced. When we got home, my brother and his wife were already there. His wife stayed inside while Ashley packed her things. My brother stayed outside with me. Honestly, the whole process was surprisingly calm. No more screaming, no more drama, just quiet. Later, I texted her to let her know the rest of her stuff would be on the porch, and that she should come pick it up while I was at work. I didn't hear anything from her all day, until I was about to head home. That's when she sent me a message. Angry, bitter, wishing just about every bad thing you could imagine on me. I didn't reply, and when I got home, it was chaos. Everything was destroyed. I don't know if Ashley had a spare key I didn't know about, or if she somehow got in another way, but she got inside, and she trashed the place. Things that can't be replaced, gone. Furniture torn apart. The kitchen completely wrecked. It looked like a storm had ripped through my home. Just destruction everywhere. The only decent thing she did? She locked my 2 dogs in one of the rooms, probably so they wouldn't get hurt on broken glass or eat something dangerous. I have 2 cars, one for everyday use and an SUV for work. I use the SUV for house calls, especially when I need to transport larger or more exotic animals back to the clinic. And in the middle of all that chaos, Marcus. I completely forgot. I'd given her a spare key to my SUV in case of emergencies. So I went to check it. And yeah, she trashed that too. Flour dumped all over the inside. Tomato sauce smeared everywhere. Just pointless destruction. And the thing is, stuff is just stuff. What really hit me wasn't the damage. It was realizing she was capable of something that childish, that cruel. After everything, I was just standing there in shock. Because just last weekend we were fine. I took her to a show, we hung out with friends, played Monopoly, even made up our own dumb drinking game. We watched Netflix, spent time together. Everything felt normal, real. And now, My house is wrecked. My car is destroyed. And I feel like my entire life just got flipped upside down overnight. It's crazy how fast everything can fall apart. I'm not proud of this, but I was so angry that I did something petty. I went on a grocery delivery app and ordered 20 bags of baby carrots, about 90 pounds total, and had them sent to Ashley at her friend's place. Yeah, a mountain of baby carrots. They delivered it within the hour. That same night, I got a flood of messages from her. Angry, insulting, all over the place. Was it petty? Absolutely. Do I regret it? Not really. Maybe just the part where it was a waste of food. Hopefully she donated them, or at least did something useful with them. But that's where it ends. I blocked her. Completely. Because at the end of the day, she showed me exactly who she is, and I know I deserve better. Since Monday, I've spent a lot of time thinking about myself, not just about what happened, but about who I am as a partner, trying to understand if there was something I missed, something that led to Ashley building up resentment or frustration toward me. I'll be honest, completely honest. I work a lot. I try to make time for the people I care about, and I do my best not to bring stress or negativity home. But I'm not perfect, and I'm willing to look at myself and ask hard questions. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to just walk away from this thinking, she was the problem. I want to make sure I grow from it, so the next time I let someone into my life, I'm better, stronger, and a lot more careful about who I trust. If I had a rough day at work, yeah, sometimes that would follow me home. I'll admit that. Ashley and I had argued about it before, and I really did try to manage my schedule better, coming home at a reasonable time, leaving the stress of the job at the door whenever I could. But the reality is, being a veterinarian doesn't really have an off switch. Anyone who works in this field, or knows someone who does, understands that. You're always on call for emergencies. Sometimes there are patients that need to be checked on late at night, or situations where you have to stay with them. Taking a full day off isn't always simple. That's possible, but it's not that simple. I have an amazing team that can handle most situations. Still, even on days off or when I'm on vacation, I get calls, messages. Emergencies don't really care about your schedule, and I'm sure there were times Ashley felt like she came second to my work. I know there were. She told me that herself. And I did try to adjust. I really did. But there are limits to what you can change when your job comes with that level of responsibility. And as far as I can remember, I was never intentionally cruel to her. Never mean. Never disrespectful. There were bad days. Times when I was irritated, distant, not fully present. We had arguments, disagreements, but nothing I'd call toxic or unhealthy. I genuinely believed we had a strong relationship, that we were both happy. I know I was, and yeah. It's hard not to question yourself after something like this, to wonder if I somehow fell short, if I disappointed her, or made her feel neglected to the point where she needed to act like that. But the more I think about it, the more I realize something important. Even if I wasn't perfect, and I wasn't, that doesn't justify being disrespected. It doesn't justify being mocked, lied to, and humiliated behind my back. You can have problems in a relationship. You can be frustrated, you can be unhappy, but you talk about it. You don't tear the other person down when they're not in the room. So, yeah, I'll learn from this. I'll be better next time. But I'm not going to carry blame for something that was never mine to begin with. I don't know, but I do know this. No matter what the reasons were, her words and her actions were completely unacceptable. I didn't deserve that, and that's on her. Quick update. I filed a police report and took photos of the damage to the house. Hopefully, that'll help recover at least part of the losses through insurance. As for the police, realistically, I'm not expecting much to come out of it. I can't actually prove it was Ashley. So, yeah, that's where things stand right now. Honestly, I don't ever want to see her again. I'm hoping the insurance covers at least part of the damage, and I can just move on with my life. That's really all I want at this point. Let me know what you think about this whole situation in the comments, because stories like this really make you think. Is your partner actually who you believe they are? Or could they turn into someone completely different when things fall apart? It's a tough thought. Anyway, thanks for watching all the way to the end. Check out the previous video right here. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more real stories like this. Take care, and good luck.